Our roads are crumbling. There's 60,000 structurally deficient bridges right now. The problem for Congress, and I served in Congress for 14 years, how do we pay for it? There's no money. The Highway Trust Fund is broke. There really is no money. And I think part of the dilemma for the Trump administration, too, is how do we pay for it? We're talking billions and billions and billions of dollars. Now, Ed and I have been traveling around together for about 4 years promoting the idea, raise the gas tax, do infrastructure through three Ps, public-private partnerships, maybe get an infrastructure bank, give states more opportunities for tolling. But we have to raise the gas tax. That is the pot of money that built America. That's the pot of money that built the interstate system over the last 40 years. And it hadn't been raised since 1993. Now, you tell me one thing that hasn't gone up since 1993, the gas tax. Right. And with prices as low as they are, now's a very good time to be doing it. And you could create a huge pot of money, couple that with public-private partnerships, infrastructure bank, tolling, boom, you got a pot of money that can really fix America.
Governor Rendell, we have spoken with you plenty of times over the years about this, and it seems like a relatively common sense idea, but when I've spoken with senators and with congressmen about it, they all say, okay, who's going to go first? They're all a little afraid to step out and say, yes, I'm going to be the one supporting a higher gas tax. So what happens?
Well, they should all hold hands and jump off the bridge together. Look, the American people are about 50-50 split on whether we should raise the gas tax. But it's interesting, on referendums for specific transportation projects, they've won over the last 10 years 75% of the time, even though they've all called for either increased taxes or increased tolling. The American people are not dumb. They know you get what you pay for. And the average person, according to the Texas Transportation Institute, loses $800 a year because of our inferior transportation infrastructure. You hit a pothole and lose one tire, and that's twice as much as you'd pay if we increased the gas tax 10 cents a gallon and indexed it to inflation. So Ray's right, we've got to look at that. But that's a short-term fix. It only produces about $250 million. We need much more, and I think the long-term solution is a federal capital budget. The federal government is the only political subdivision in the country that doesn't have a capital budget. No major company doesn't have a capital budget. Because if you put transportation infrastructure and other infrastructure, like water and sewer or electrical grid, things like that, if you put them in the operating budget, they compete with more immediate needs like healthcare and the military, and they're always going to be underfunded. Capital budget is the way to build long-term assets, and that's what we should do.
That makes perfect common sense, but again, getting back to that, how do you possibly get that through Congress at this point when every single day we hear about the battles on spending more for healthcare versus spending more for defense? There's not enough money to go around right now, so the idea of creating a new pot.
Well, the Problem Solvers Caucus, Ray and I both spoke to the Problem Solvers Caucus, a group of Republicans and Democrats who meet regularly, and they endorsed the capital budget. So I think we've got to differentiate between spending and investing in long-term assets. Our infrastructure is an asset that protects our public safety, that in fact makes us more economically competitive. And by the way, it's the best creator of well-paying middle-class jobs in manufacturing and construction itself that we have. The best creator. If we did an infrastructure revitalization plan in this country, we could create 4 to 5 million well-paying jobs that pay between $60,000 and $90,000 a year.
It's a state issue, but I wonder if it's going to be a model for others. I don't know if you guys saw the report, I think it was in the New York Times just yesterday, about what's going on in New York City, congestion pricing. Right. This idea that Cuomo wants congestion pricing below 60th Street. Right. What was so interesting to me about the plan, and it actually goes to, whether you want to pursue
$12.
It'd be very expensive, $12, but
$25 if you're a truck.
But beyond that, it was how technology has changed the plan, which is to say that now that there's technology, literally with cameras that can go at your license plate, that you don't need big toll booths, you don't need all of these other. You can literally just charge every card. And so you talk about a gas tax. Could you have some kind of tolling tax using technology that's completely different than the way we've thought about this before?
Yeah, no, it's a good point, and many states are doing it. My home state of Illinois is doing it. Virginia's doing it. Virginia just went to congestion pricing, particularly along 66 from the Dulles corridor down into Washington, D.C.
That's expensive, too.
It's very expensive, and there was a big uproar about it. But look, if you want to get someplace faster, you're going to have to pay for it. If you want to get around the city of New York, you're going to have to be able to pay for that. And it does raise an enormous amount of money. And if you look at Governor Cuomo's plan, what he's going to do is reinvest that money back into infrastructure in New York.
But let me ask, just from looking at it, from hearing the details, they're just starting to come out. We are just hearing the numbers on these things. But when I heard $25 for a truck to be here, I suddenly thought, wow, is that going to make this a less attractive place for businesses? Are you going to be inadvertently making it so expensive to be here that you just make it less desirable for companies to locate here, for workers to want to come?
Well, you know, that we're going to find out. I mean, that's, you know, part of the idea is implement a plan like this, see if it relieves congestion, but also if you're putting the money back into infrastructure, that's what people are really looking for. And infrastructure drives the economy. It creates jobs for people who build the roads. It also creates economic corridors, economic opportunities for the people that are using it.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC.